Here's another sample problem from section 8. This one says figure P15, and you can look in your book, find that figure, but figure P15 shows that the freshman class of 2006 was less interested in developing a philosophy of life than the freshmen of 1969 had been. In 1969, 88% of women considered the objective essential or very important. Since then, this percentage has decreased by approximately 1.1 each year. If this trend continues, by which year will only 33% of female freshmen consider developing a meaningful philosophy of life essential or very important? Okay, quite a few words here. Try to sift through and see what we need to solve the problem. But first of all, what are we trying to find? There's definitely a trend where this particular developing a philosophy um, is going down. And I think that the trend continues, or they think it might continue. Um, and they're wondering what year it actually reaches this low amount of 33%, if that trend is correct. So we have a starting point, try to find an ending point of 33%, and how many years that is. So we're trying to find, it says by which year. So find year when. And I'm not going to put all the details in, but when percentage drops to 33%. So the year when that actually should happen, again, if this trend is correct. Now we're trying to find a year. So the rule of thumb is to let some variable represent what you're trying to find. We're trying to find the year or something similar to it. We're starting in 1969. You can see a certain amount goes down each year. So I would let X actually be the number of years after 1969, and then we can find from that the actual year that it occurs in. I think it'll be a little simpler if we do that. If we let X be the actual year when it occurs, I think our equations are going to be a little more involved. We'll have to subtract 1969 and so on. But let's let X equal number of years after 1969. I'll say that. I'm not going to describe the whole thing that this occurs. In other words, we reach 33% that no longer feel that developing this philosophy of life is essentially very important. Okay, that's the only thing we're trying to find. So normally on step 2, or many times step 2, you need to find other variables or other expressions that represent other quantities. We don't need that here. But what would be good is if we can now try to set up an equation. I'm going to just try to get an idea down. We want to start somehow with 88%, and then see what we go from there. So let's use that as a starting point. Percent in 1969, and we're going to be subtracting off a certain amount until we get down to percent in it'll be a later year. It's actually the year we're trying to find, and that percent actually is 33%. So this is 88%. We're going to keep subtracting 1.1 each year until we get down to 33%. But we need an expression that describes how much we're subtracting. If it's going down 1.1% each year, after 2 years it will have gone down 2.2%. Excuse me. 3 years, 3.3%, and so on. So an expression that would represent the amount that's going down. Let's see. In X years could be just X times 1.1 or 1.1 X. So this is the equation I'm looking at right here. 88% minus 1.1 times the number of years it takes to get down to 33. So once that's set up, relatively easy to solve that. You subtract 88 from both sides, you get negative 1.1. X equals negative 55, divide by negative 1.1, and we actually get that X is equal to 50. Okay, so 50 years. The question asks for trend continues by what year? So actually we want to find the year that this happened. So this is 50 years after 1969. So if we take 1969, add 50, that should give us the year when this would occur. This trend is correct. And I believe that gives us the year 2019. Okay, so we should answer the question in 2019, the percentage should reach 33. Okay, that's the answer. Or you could say 50 years later in 2019. As a check, if you look at this, does that make sense? So if we take this 50 years later, if you start with, say, 88, and subtract how much it actually goes down, so 50 times 1.1, how much is going down each year, what is that actually equal to? And if you multiply this to do that subtraction, I think